Hello there, Bran-Howl here. It is a beautiful spring morning, well, lunchtime actually. February, whew, what a month that was. So, where to begin? We, as in Bran-Howl. Okay, let's walk backwards. On Friday, we met with the Foreign Ministry of Pridnestrovia, discussing Bran-Howl. Being a micronation, the business plans we have for the place, the tourist ideas and other bits and pieces, and the meeting went very well, very positive, and we're waiting to hear certain bits back, so updates on that as and when we get them. This is the old monument to the World War II. So that was very interesting, very positive. Very easy to talk to, very friendly people. In other news, our seeds have started arriving. So we have our nettles, we have corn, we have a bunch of stuff. I'll actually have to put up a list because it's too much to remember. So that can start. A lot of them are germinating already, and the place they're germinating is in the embassy. Now, if you don't know, there's no reason why you should know, the embassy of the Kingdom of Solacia is in Bran-Howl, as is Ravenshire, which is the Solacian land in Bran-Howl, which will be used for certain crops and events and that sort of stuff. And there'll be workshops as well as accommodations for visitors, guests, tourists, that sort of thing. Side note, this is an old outdoor cinema that's being restored, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's coming along very nicely. So Bran-Howl is a part of the Kingdom of Solacia. Queen Neve of Solacia is our head of state, our monarch, and that's going to have a lot of interesting events and other stuff coming out of that partnership. Again, updates will come out as we have them. Also, Edristan, the People's Republic of Edristan, we finished our very first trade, and we're on our way with the second one, which was very nice. We exchanged some currency and some silver and some other items, stamps, so that'll be going up into display, and pictures of that will be available shortly. We also have our 50th subscriber is looking to come back already. We're in the middle of talking to some local restaurants what we'd like to do, because he's a Mexican Canadian. We are thinking of making a taco night. So we will hijack a restaurant for the night, and we'll be making tacos and burritos, proper authentic Mexican food here in Pridnestrovia, and we'll be waving the Bran-Howl flag, of course. So that will be great fun. It will be probably in a few months, maybe end of April, that sort of time. But it's still very much in there. We have an idea and we're throwing it out there and seeing who's interested. We've had a reply or two already from some restaurant owners. They basically want more details, which is fine. So I'll be meeting them next week. And yeah, I'll keep you posted on that. Also, the building at Bran-Howl. It came to a bit of a grinding halt because of the weather. It was getting down to minus numbers again, which means the ground had frozen, which means you can't lay concrete. Builders don't want to build. So that was fine. That was a bit of a bummer. It's also good because I was planning on putting some things in the ground, but I'm glad I didn't. And in fact, I'm going to wait a bit longer, because although it's almost been a full year that I've been here, I'm not exactly sure when the frost ends, so I'd rather wait and be a bit late and only get 2 crops in instead of 3 than put some in the ground and lose them, because money's not tight, but we'd like to save it and use it properly where we can. I'm absolutely loving this building. It's nowhere near finished, but it's really coming on nicely. It was, sorry, absolute sidetrack. When I first got here, these pillars and the whole thing was beaten up, bits missing, and they've really done a very nice job. They haven't just chucked a load of concrete in the ground and called it a day, which is lovely. So that's good. And as far as what we're doing at Bran-Howl, a lot of what we're doing is I'm funding. Bran-Howl will be funding itself. But we understand that a bit of a cash injection would speed things up considerably. But I don't like to put my hand out and say, give me some cash. So, which is why I was looking initially for trade. So that way I'm making money instead of asking for money. We've had a bit of a rethink on that, still not wanting to put our hands out, but we have a barrel. We're getting another 2, maybe 3, and what we've decided to do is we're going to fill 1 barrel with brandy and 1 barrel with whiskey, and if people want to support us, what they can do is support by buying a litre of brandy or a litre of whiskey, which will be stored in the barrels for 3 years, and after 3 years we'll open it up and we will distribute the whiskey and brandy amongst our supporters, and we'll also be selling it locally in our Bran-Howl, and so people can either, if it's not feasible for them to have the alcohol shipped to them, we will give them the cash instead, or the cash equivalent, depending on what people want. If people decide that they actually would like a bit of land in return, or they would like the cash, or they'd like some merchandise, or they'd like a bit of cash and a bit of booze, we're open to all of that. We're very much a nation of yes, rather than trying to find problems. We like to find solutions and answers to things, because it's not hard to make things better rather than worse. There are enough people out there making things worse already. We also have, thanks to some of our supporters who've been paying in silver, we have a load of silver on the way to us, so that will be minted up sometime in April. We'll be experimenting. I'll probably make some videos and experimentations, actually, because that'd be quite interesting, I suppose. And then we'll be settling on a design and what and how we're going to make things, the size of the coins, the denominations, that sort of stuff. We are not going to inflate the price of the coins. So there will be, I think what we'll be doing is, if people actually want to get the money or get our currency, it will be whatever the face value of the currency is, rounded up. So let's say it's €4.96, it'll be €5. And then there will be a small fee, not much, just something like a £5 on top of the postage, just because we do need to make a bit of cash back. But currency isn't actually a business. Currency is just getting things out there, and we're certainly not going to inflate the price by 8 times of what the actual currency is worth, because that's just ludicrous and quite despicable, actually. So there is that. There's also more visitors on the way. I was talking to a Scottish guy, and we had 2 Irish chaps. So that's another thing that's fairly interesting. Lots of people are coming despite what's going on next door. There's always the more adventurous types that like to come out, and they're not overly put off by what's going on next door, which, as long as they're not blindly thinking it'll be fine, let's go, I don't have a problem with. Everybody knows what's going on next door. Everybody knows it's not great. I'm quite open about the fact that it's just 25 miles away from Bran-Howl. Well, the border at least, not the actual fighting. The fighting is hundreds of miles away, but still, we have had power cuts because of what's going on over there. So if you still want to come, if that's the kind of adventurous person you are, absolutely fantastic. If it's not for you, we totally understand, and that's just as fantastic. You can support in other ways or not. And let's get out of that. What else is happening? Talk about the ministry. Yes, Kingdom of Solacia. This has been a long time in the making, kind of working towards it for a while. We've been talking and finalising a few things, deciding how we want to do things, what, where, when and why, and that's come to fruition. It's Bran-Howl citizens are by default Solacian citizens. Nearly made a terrible mistake there, and that's how that's going to work. We are not, it's not one rules the other. We are working in partnership. So we will have, for example, the land of Ravenshire, which belongs to Solacia, is theirs. What's grown on that plot will directly benefit Solacians. When I say Solacians, I mean actual Solacians, not the Bran-Howl Solacians. So they are autonomous. They have their own land. They have their own rights to that land. Any direct Solacian citizens will have access through Bran-Howl to that land and anything that comes off of it. And we're trading together. We have some projects are just Queen Neve's, some projects are Bran-Howl's, and other projects we're doing together. Purely because it's when you're working together, it works out nicely that way. There are other nations that we are working with or talking to at the moment, and we'll be doing something similar with them, producing things that people need, rather than having a big pile of potatoes or tomatoes. We're trying to gauge what people want, what people need. What would your nation need that you don't have that you would like to get? And supply and demand, we're doing it that way. Also, we're talking to nations about what do you produce. These are the kind of things that we would want. These are the kind of things we'll use regularly, because most importantly, rather than saying we traded this and we traded that, but then it's just sat there not doing anything, we're trading things that we want and will be used and we'll be buying again regularly. Sustainable trade is very much what we're about, and the freedom to express yourself and live a happy, prosperous life. That's the motto of Bran-Howl, is prosperity and honour. I think that's about it. I'm sure I've missed a whole bunch of stuff. There does seem to be a lot more. Thank you for listening, and I will catch you next time.